Nancy Pelosi has led Democrats in the House of Representatives for more than 15 years. And more of those Democrats are fed up. As of today, more than 50 Democrat congressmen and congressional candidates say they would not support Mrs. Pelosi for Speaker if the party retakes the majority.
You will have a vote as part of the Democratic caucus as to who will be the next Democratic leader, whether it be the minority leader or the Speaker of the House. Will you vote for Nancy Pelosi?
Probably not.
You have said you will not support Nancy Pelosi should you become elected there as the next Speaker or Democratic leader in the House.
Folks are ready for a new generation of leadership.
Would you back Pelosi for Speaker if you win and are in the House?
Well, I think, again, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves.
Mark Penn was a pollster and advisor to both Bill and Hillary Clinton, and he joins us. Mark, 15 years in the modern age is a hell of a long time to be holding down a party leadership job like this. Is Nancy finally in trouble?
I think trouble's kind of overrated here. Look, if the Democrats win the House, she will have done the fundraising, the messaging. She will be in a very strong position, and she will be strengthening herself most likely in California, and the California delegation is solidly behind her. So I don't actually think she's going anywhere if she wins. On the other hand, I think there are a fair number of politicians that for the purpose of the election, because she's unpopular nationally, want to distance themselves from her. And I think eventually there will be a change. And the other thing that could happen here is the Problem Solvers Caucus. If this race is within 5 or 6 seats on either way, Democrats or Republicans, they may hold up the election for Speaker unless there are rules changes that put some power back in the members' hands.
Well, let's just step back and talk about what you said at the beginning about whether she is in trouble or not. Once upon a time, if you were a loser, you got a second chance, whether it's Grover Cleveland, Richard Nixon, whoever it is we're talking about. We live in much more brutal political times, and Nancy Pelosi hasn't actually won in the House for 10 years now, for 4 elections and possibly a 5th. How is it, what's the secret of her power there? How is it she's managed to hold her grip on this caucus?
California, fundraising, personality and organization. And remember, what's happened here is that the fundraising and the political campaigns largely got centralized, giving more power to the leaders.
Right.
That's one of the big reasons nothing gets done on both sides, because the leaders have too much power and the members aren't free to go agree on stuff.
Well, let's turn from the minority leader to a well-known New York City madam, not any connection between the two of them, but the self-described Manhattan madam, Kristen Davis, testified today before the Mueller investigation's grand jury. Why she did that is unclear, but Miss Davis has been a friend to longtime Trump advisor Roger Stone. If you have difficulty keeping your metropolitan madams straight, this is the one who claimed to have provided hookers for Eliot Spitzer, who was then the Democrat governor of New York. Mark, how did the Mueller investigation end up calling the Manhattan madam before the grand jury?
Well, look, I lived through '98, so I know that there are no rocks which special counsels will stop from turning over. And I think it's unfortunate that the special counsel's gone down this road. I think Roger Stone has been clear. He didn't collude with anybody. He was up to maybe some of his usual political tricks and bragging, and they're obviously interviewing everybody around him, regardless of the connection, just as they're interviewing everybody around Trump. Quite interestingly, one of Roger Stone's other associates, I think Mr. Miller, appealed the subpoena, and I think, although it was turned down at the district level, it's actually the most fascinating case, which might be the case that unravels the entire independent counsel investigation if it's appealed.
Yeah, because the way this thing, I mean, that is a very interesting appeal, because this thing doesn't meet any basic judicial norms, what the special counsel does. Basically, he goes down the chain. So he wants to talk to this madam because she's got something on some other guy, and then he can put the squeeze on that other guy, and the other guy can roll up another guy, and eventually somewhere in that chain they'll find someone who has the goods on Trump. Well, why do Democrats and Republicans put up with this? Why isn't there a bipartisan understanding of the need to get rid of this thing?
Look, I wish there were. I fought Ken Starr in '98, and I've been outspoken that I think this investigation is wrong. Well, look, I think Judge Ellis in the Manafort trial clearly knows that Manafort is on trial by the independent counsel with the entire weight of the largest prosecutorial machinery almost ever built, only because he spent 2 months as Trump campaign manager.
Yeah, absolutely.
He might have had an assessment, he might have had a trial, but not 2 indictments, not not even without bail. Even Harvey Weinstein is out on $1 million bail.
Right.
So you see that this is not the way anybody really expect the American justice system to work. And I am puzzled that more Democrats and Republicans, look, hatred for Trump is so broad that I think people are forgetting the first principles is that we all have to agree on a system that's fair to all.
Absolutely.